Welcome, everyone, to the Meaningful Hearts Podcast, where we discuss the everyday questions that make us or break us if we let them. I am your host, Drew. Take my hand and let's walk this journey together. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Meaningful Hearts Podcast. I am Drew, and on this somber, rainy Sunday night, I'm recording another episode. Now you ask, what does that episode include? What are we going to talk about today? Well, I will tell you. The topic is, I think I love someone who is toxic, but they are not willing to change. Well, this is going to be a simple episode, about 2 seconds. That's it. Leave them. Done. Problem solved. Good night, guys. No, it's not that simple, right? Love has a lot of gray area. Relationships and love have a lot of gray area. Now, as human beings, we have this ability to literally make things black or white as far as making a decision and moving on. We have the ability to do this, but things don't work out that way. We have emotions involved. We like to go through them, right? We go through our emotional phase where we think about the past and the history that we have with this person, right? We think about these things. So why is it so damn hard, right? Why is it so damn hard if we just shut the door on those thoughts and just move forward? Well, then we would be different. I wouldn't have this podcast. None of us would have problems. We would just say, okay, this is the right solution. We're robotic and we'll just do that. But it doesn't work that way. You know, the anticipation of the pain attached to the realization that somebody you love does not love you back in the same way is very hurtful. The anticipation of the pain. It's thinking about the long road ahead of recovery that keeps us from moving forward and staying in pain. It sounds ridiculous, right? But it's true. You're like, damn, I don't want to move forward because I don't want to go through that whole long haul of pain. So I'd rather just sit with this person, deal with this part of the pain, still have them around because it's kind of selfish, but you're not making your life better. You're actually causing more turmoil for yourself and long-term damage. They might tell you they love you, but the actions is where the true story lies, right? You know, you can't truly see this when you're in the relationship because the love clouds everything. It just clouds the judgment, and it allows wrongs to be passed. You allow a lot of things that you know are not right to pass as a free pass. Hey, listen, that person did this to me. It's cool. You know, I love them, and I'm willing to see past that. But in reality, you shouldn't. You should really analyze these things because this is the way the person is. This is their true nature. I understand nobody's perfect, but it does not give them the right to act in any way they want either, right? You got to be fair. The truth is, you have to let this person go. If you're asking yourself in the relationship if it is toxic, if you're asking if the relationship is toxic, you already know the answer. You already know it. You already know what to do. You need a little bit of a push, though. You need to be logical about it, right? You need to make a logical sense of it. It's like you want the answer, but at the same time you don't because you know what that's going to lead to. But sometimes your brain just needs a little bit more proof, something a little more logical, right? To get you past this, and then go through the phase of getting over it, right? But it's a tough one, right? You know, the thoughts that you're having is based on what you're feeling inside. You know, you don't want to vocalize to anyone. Also, most of us we stay in this area of denial because we don't want anybody to confirm our suspicions. That's another reason. So we even keep it bottled up inside. You might be listening to this podcast by chance just to hear what I have to say, but you don't want anybody else to know. So it's like a secret between me and you. It's a secret. But this needs to be taken care of because this is not healthy. You know, denial is where you live until the relationship gets so bad that you run it all the way into the ground and begin to hate that person. There'll be a point where you're going to hate that person instead of dislike them or have an issue with the relationship. You're going to really start to feel attacked in ways that you never thought. Now, the question really is it the other person's fault? Well, not entirely. It is your fault too. You have to take responsibility for putting yourself into the situation and disregarding all the signs, because I guarantee you there were red flags from the very start. There were red flags everywhere. You know, you also need to understand that this person was probably this way since the beginning. You know, you really need to see that. That's part of it too. We'll back up. We'll dial back a little bit. There is history. You're seeing it now because the honeymoon phase of maybe what you thought was good, and you're just in this romantic where maybe you guys clicked a little bit, but as time goes on, people start to show their true colors a little more, especially in a romantic relationship. And there are a lot of us that attract these people, these patterns. We attract these people that have these patterns, right? These things that they do, these toxic patterns. You know, it's part of our selection process. We end up with these people. I've been with plenty of women and dated them in the past that wanted, I guess, a quote unquote good guy. And I was a little bit different than the guys that they've dated. But in reality, they really wanted that guy. They wanted that. And they ended up going back to the same guys. You know, they ended up going back to the same guys they dated before and got the same result. You know, and eventually, I mean, some people fall out of that. But for the most part, there are a lot of people that don't see it and they can't get out of their own way. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about. We do it by default. We have certain people that we keep around us because we like certain things. There's things that they have that we lack, and we like that. But some of those things are not healthy. They're not good qualities either. We got to understand that there are traits that are attached to those qualities that we don't realize are really bad for us, you know? So the question is, like, what do you do, right? What do I do? I'm in this. I love this person and I'm afraid of life without them, right? Well, there are two things that can happen, right? If the person is good for you, they would have been understanding of your feelings and met you in the middle, depending on your dilemma, because there's a lot of dilemmas, right? You know, yeah, there's people that, you know, aren't faithful. You have partners that just always think of themselves, not you. You go out of your way for them, but when it comes down to them meeting you in the middle, they don't. I mean, you're just seeing character. You just got to go back to all these scenarios. It's showing, hey, listen, if I do this, this is how I feel about it. You know, you're showing the way you're acting pure and genuine. Well, I guess they're being genuine in the sense that this is how they are, and you have to accept it. And if you feel like you're always going to their side and they're not meeting you in the middle, there's a problem, a big one. That's a big issue. You know, you have to look at those things. You have to. So the only other thing to do is move on. That's it. That's all you can do. You can move on. It's tough. It's a fresh start, but it's the only thing you could do. It might seem like the hardest thing you could do, but believe me, believe me it is, but that's the only thing that you can do. You have to start fresh. But what is harder than that is staying with that person and realizing how much time of your life you wasted and not dealing with the healing part of it. Because that's the long part that you're gonna have to get to the healing part of the process, where all the trauma is. And the longer you stay with somebody like this, there's gonna be more trauma to yourself. It's gonna be a health issue for you. And you're gonna have to, once you remove yourself from a relationship, depending on how long you've been in it, you're gonna have to take that time to recoup. You don't just jump into another relationship either. That's stupid. You gotta make yourself whole. It's not only just for the sake of getting away from that person. It's for the sake of your health, right? You know, some relationships are really abusive. They cause PTSD. You know, this stress can be taxing on your future health, like physical health, not only your mental, but physical health. You don't want to go through all that stuff. Just let them go. It'll hurt for a little while, right? A little while could be a year. You know, I'm being a little, you know, it's a little while. You will start to progressively get better. But you need to tell yourself that it's for the best. Now, it sounds very cliche, but it is something you need to do. Repeat that you are doing what's best for you. For no one else. This is for you. And this person is not healthy for you. This doesn't just go for your love life either. This is for anyone in your life. Friendships can be just as toxic, if not more toxic. Because sometimes they're like your best friend or they're your go-to person. But in reality, they're using you. You know, you go out of your way for them. you help them out. And then when you need them, they're not there for you. And I'm not saying use people in return, but you'll see what's genuine and what's not genuine. And a lot of people get attached to friends. I've seen this tons of times too. Oh, this is my best friend. I've known them since I'm a child. Yeah, but this person's an asshole. Like, you've known an asshole your whole life. Congratulations. But you need to get away from that person. You got to purge what's not working and hurting. Purge that. Get rid of it. Flush it down the toilet. It's gone. There are plenty of people on this planet. Plenty of great people. You need to remember something. That this is very important for all this to work. You have to change your patterns as well. So purging these people is one thing. But also changing your selection process on the people that you put around you is another thing. That's something you need to work on, because the part of you that's selecting these people and bringing them into your life, that's your fault. That's not theirs. They exist, and you're going and putting these people into your life. It's your choice. Put people around you. When you're sourcing for lovers or friends, source them from good environments. People that have healthy habits and positive mindsets, right? People that show an honorable sense of character and are truthful. You're not asking for much. Nobody's perfect. We're just asking for certain traits that lead to better qualities, right? Look inside yourself and see what toxic traits you carry, because you might be mirroring those too. And you want to change that and start mirroring healthy ones. And that also is part of having better people around you, because they'll also reflect and say, hey, listen, you're acting kind of strange, or you're doing this, and they'll help you. They'll help you break out of that cycle as well. So this is a revolving door. You yourself and the people you surround yourself with will make you better and ultimately make the people around you better and grow. Now, it's going to take some real effort. This is not something that's just going to boom, happen, right? It's going to take some real effort, some real soul searching. Because chances are you'll be lost in this part of the healing process for quite a while. Everything that you know your whole life is now going to change. I too, toxic. I grew up in a toxic household with toxic people. Now, not bad people, but toxic. I didn't realize how bad it was until I left. Till I left my house. And then I came back. When I would visit, I noticed how insane it was. I was dating someone for a long time, and I didn't understand what she felt when she came to eat dinner at my house and how petrified she was, because we were a little rowdy, until I left. And I spent a lot of time with her and outside of the household and came back. And I saw it and I was horrified. And we're talking about 10 years later. I couldn't understand it because I had my head so far up my own ass with my own stuff, living in this environment, that I didn't even realize how bad it was and how bad I was being. So look at your parents, your sister, your brother, people you live with. Chances are you've gained some of those habits from those relationships, and you've deemed that as a normal thing. Abusive relationships, people being mean to each other, people being selfish, people screaming at each other, no sense of patience. All these crazy things. I lived with it, and I didn't know. And it took a lot of soul searching, and it took a lot of good friends, good people, because I didn't have always the best people around me that were actually able to amplify this back to me. And some of the friends that I had grew up in the similar situation. So what do? We drew at each other. We drew together. We became friends because we had a very large understanding of the lifestyles that we've lived, and the parents that we've had are very same. Broken houses, broken families. So it was easy. It was very easy to become drawn to these people. Now, they're not bad people, but I can tell you that those behaviors are not normal. They're not normal behaviors, and that's not acceptable. If you plan on having children one day, you plan on marrying someone, you plan on being with someone for a long time, and then you decide to bring a child into this world, you're literally going to replicate the same stuff, because the kid is going to absorb all your behaviors like a sponge. And before you know it, they're like a tape recorder. They're going to play it back, and you're going to watch it, and it's going to be the most sad sight. And you're going to feel worse because that is a child who doesn't know anything of the world. And once you were a child who didn't know anything of the world that saw that and said, you know what, that's normal to act that way. That's how I'm going to handle things. And over time, it gets learned and reprocessed, and it becomes part of your narrative. It becomes part of your voice in your head. That's not good. It's not. It's a sentence. I'm in my 30s. It took a very long time for me to realize it, and I'm still working through it. It's a prison sentence. It's not normal to behave that way. You know, you have to be a productive person in society. Starts at the home. Now you go to work. I'm telling you, it's really bad. So this is what you need to do. You need to get rid of that person in your life. You need to dump them. Dump the bad people in your life. It's about you. In the end of the day, it's about you. Be selfish first, for the good reasons, not for the bad ones. Be selfish. Purge those people out of your life. Not good for you. Get yourself right. Figure out what's going on with you. Fix those things. Develop better habits. Habits that are going to nurture positivity. And stay away from negativity. I always say, stay away from it. People have negative mindsets. They're only going to prey upon your positivity and kill it. You don't need it. There's no time. Time is finite. You don't have time for bullshit. You don't have time for negativity. You only have time for positivity. That's what you need to spend your time doing. That's where the gems lie. That's where the good relationships lie. Anybody who's in a positive relationship, they glow and they work together. If you've seen power couples that just get it, they're not perfect, but they mesh well together. They understand each other and they're partners. You want to find a partner. It's a business. It's like a business. You have to figure out what each part of you does well and works together. Friendships, same thing. You're building a team of great people that you want to grow with. And this requires being very selective. Now, there are going to be people in your life that aren't going to be your number ones, right? They're going to be people that you might be acquainted with. That's fine. But the people that you spend the most time with should be of the utmost best quality. Better than you. You could always learn something from them. That's where you should be. Strive for that. And you will see their habits, those good habits, whatever it is, things that you probably never thought of, maybe eating healthy, will rub off on you. Their exercise habits will rub off on you. Their careers and aspirations, the books they read will rub off on you. And you're going to it's going to be burned into you. You're going to recopy all this data into your mind, and you're going to start to build this new person. And you're going to replicate that, and you're going to pass it on to other people, and they're going to receive it as well. And we're going to make this world better, more positive. We need more positivity in this world. There's too much negativity. There's too much of it. And it starts inside. It starts within. It starts with you as the individual. We can't blame ourselves 100%. You know, that's like 50%. And then the other 50% is the relationships. But you have to be accountable for what you put in your life. You're accountable for what you put in your plate when you eat. Accountability. You got to take some sort of accountability for these things. But it's never okay to be treated like garbage. And don't just because you've spent 10 years with somebody and you love them, you think you love them, and you hope that they love you back. It's not. It's not it. You need to leave them and move on with your life. I think that is the best solution. And if you're still struggling after that, if you still don't know what to do, like you still just feel lost, even after you hear this, because it's not, you might hear this for the first time and it's going to, you're like, no, that's not the solution. I got to find a solution that favors me staying with the person. There isn't any, but look out there. Google it. There are plenty of people that will tell you the same thing. I've learned this I didn't make this up. You know, I've learned from other people in relationships. I've learned from relationship experts and people that have written books on these things. It's not something, you know, it's not something so profound. Positivity becomes more positive, right? It brings more positivity towards you. Negativity becomes more negativity. That's it. So be on the positive side of things. I thank you for listening. God bless you. I love you all, and stay positive and grow and be healthy. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me at the Meaningful Hearts Podcast at gmail.com. as well as my Instagram page. I love you all. Good night.